In the pulsating crucible of Philadelphia's basketball courts, a colossus was born up 2014, a titan who would dwarf the very hoops he so effortlessly dominated, yet remain an eternal enigma. Charles Barkley, the man who refused to be contained by the rings that eluded him. He was a mountain among men, his towering frame and impenetrable skin cloaking a soul as vast as the universe that birthed it. Yet beneath this formidable exterior, a tempest raged up 2014, a maelstrom of self-doubt, unbridled ambition, and an insatiable thirst for vindication. Born into the humble confines of Leeds, Alabama, Barkley's life was a study in contrasts, a tale of pain and triumph, despair and elation, struggles and victories that would define him as much as the city he would come to embody. This is the story of Charles Barkley up 2014, a hero without a crown, an underdog who defied the odds, and a man who dared to challenge the very fabric of his world with nothing but unwavering conviction and an indomitable spirit. As we journey through the life of this modern-day titan, we will bear witness to his struggle against adversity, his triumph over self-doubt, and his ultimate redemption up 2014, not on the basketball court, but in the hearts and minds of millions around the globe. For this is not merely the story of a man, it is the story of an American dream deferred, reimagined, and ultimately realized in the most unexpected of ways. So, buckle up, dear listener, as we embark on an emotional roller coaster ride through the life of one of the greatest never to win a ring up 2014, Charles Barkley. In the small town of Leeds, Alabama, nestled between the towering oak trees and rolling hills, a child was born to Barkley and Charles Barkley. They named him Charles Wade Barkley, a boy destined for greatness, yet blinded by the crushing weight of his circumstances. The Barkleys were a family woven from the same fabric as the town they called home up 2014 throng, resilient and imbued with an unshakable spirit. Yet their lives were not without struggle. As African Americans in the segregated South, they faced adversity that would break lesser souls. Barkley Sr. worked tirelessly at the local Goodyear tire plant, his hands calloused from years of labor. Charcy, a school teacher, devoted herself to her students, instilling in them a love for learning and a belief in their potential. The family's small, modest home was a sanctuary, a place where laughter echoed off the walls and stories of triumph over adversity were shared. Yet it was also a battlefield, a battleground for generational conflicts and unspoken dreams. For Barkley, the weight of these struggles was a burden he carried with him throughout his life. As Charles grew older, he began to understand that he was different up 2014, larger, stronger, faster than most boys his age. His size, once an unwanted reminder of his family's hardships, became a source of pride and determination. He dreamt of escaping Leeds and making a name for himself. The spark had been ignited, and Charles Barkley was on a mission. In the face of adversity, Barkley persevered. He found solace in basketball, a game that allowed him to channel his energy and ambition. It was not easy, but he fought through setbacks and heartaches, driven by an indomitable will to succeed. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but Charles Barkley was ready to face them head-on. Little did he know that the trials and tribulations of his early years were just the beginning up 2014 true test lay ahead, a test that would define him not only as a basketball player but as a man. This is the story of Charles Barkley up 2014, a tale of struggle, triumph, sacrifice, and redemption, a classic American underdog story for the ages. In the heart of Leeds, Alabama, nestled among the verdant rolling hills and quaint country homes, a baby boy was born, his cries echoing through the quiet evening air. His name was Charles Barkley. The year was 1963, and in this sleepy southern town, little did they know that a force of nature was about to be unleashed upon the world. In the Barkley household, life was simple yet challenging. Charles' father, a hard-working coal miner, and his mother, a dedicated school nurse, instilled in their son a strong work ethic and an indomitable spirit. Yet, even as a child, Charles stood out /2013 not just for his towering height but also for his fiery temperament, his quick wit, and his infectious laugh that could light up any room. Growing up, Charles faced adversity at every turn. His weight was a constant source of struggle, a heavy burden he carried with him even as he excelled on the basketball court. Yet, it was this very struggle that fueled him, pushing him to work harder, to be better, to prove the world wrong. One day, during a pickup game at the local playground, Charles found himself in a heated confrontation with a bully twice his size. With tears streaming down his face and blood trickling from a gash above his eyebrow, young Charles refused to back down. Instead, he stood tall, determined, and faced the bully head-on. In that moment, something shifted within him /2013, a spark ignited, a fire burning deep within his soul. From that day forward, there was no stopping Charles Barkley. He would go on to become one of the most feared and respected basketball players in history, all while remaining true to himself and never shying away from speaking his mind. And though he may not have been able to bring home a championship ring, his impact on the game /2013 and the hearts of millions /2013 is undeniable. In the labyrinthine world of professional basketball, where legends are forged in the crucible of relentless competition, few figures loomed larger than Charles Barkley. Known as Sir Charles, the round mound of Rebound, or simply Chuck, his imposing presence and unparalleled talent on the court made him an icon. Yet, beneath this towering exterior lay a complex individual wrestling with demons, love, and loss that would indelibly shape his life off the hardwood. It was in the hallowed halls of Auburn University where Charles Barkley first found himself entangled in the intricate web of human emotion. There, amidst the fervent cheers of adoring fans, he met Maureen Blumhart, a captivating woman who would become his wife and confidante for over 3 decades. Their union was not without its trials, however. The weight of fame and the pressures of professional sports strained their bond, and they endured periods of estrangement that tested their love's resilience. Barkley's tumultuous relationship with his family also loomed large in his life. Struggling to reconcile his Miccosukee Indian heritage with the expectations of his middle-class upbringing, he often found himself at odds with his parents and siblings. The gulf between them seemed insurmountable, yet Charles' unyielding spirit refused to allow it to define him. In the annals of sports history, few athletes have been as forthright and outspoken as Charles Barkley. This candor earned him admiration from many, but also invited betrayal. Teammates turned against him in fits of jealousy. Coaches questioned his commitment, and critics skewered him mercilessly for his weight struggles. Yet, through it all, Chuck persevered, using humor as both a shield and a sword to deflect the barbs hurled his way. As the years rolled by and the accolades mounted, Charles Barkley faced perhaps his greatest challenge yet, addiction. The insidious grasp of alcohol threatened to consume him, pulling him further away from the people he loved most. But in a moment of clarity, he acknowledged his struggle and sought help. This battle would mark a turning point in Barkley's life, serving as a testament to his indomitable spirit and unwavering resilience. In the twilight of his career, Charles Barkley found solace in the broadcast booth. There, he could share his unique insights, wit, and wisdom with the world. His newfound success in television would ultimately eclipse his accomplishments on the court. But it was not without its sacrifices. The relentless grind of travel, the isolation from loved ones, and the constant scrutiny took their toll on Barkley's fragile psyche. In the end, Charles Barkley's journey was one of love, loss, betrayal, and redemption. He grappled with the weight of his fame, the demands of his family, and the ghosts of his past. But through it all, he remained true to himself, using humor, candor, and an unbreakable spirit to forge a path that few have dared to tread. In the annals of American sports lore, Charles Barkley stands as a shining beacon of perseverance, resilience, and raw ambition / /14, a testament to the power of the human spirit. In the heart of Leeds, Alabama, a boy named Charles Barkley was born, destined for greatness but shackled by the weight of expectations and self-doubt. From the cradle, he was tagged as a prodigy, a raw talent with an insatiable hunger for basketball. Yet, it was his larger-than-life personality that would catapult him into stardom, turning heads and silencing doubters along the way. The town, like a small, sleepy cocoon, cradled Barkley as he grew up, nurturing his love for the game while also casting shadows of doubt on his potential to succeed. Barkley's size, a sturdy 6 feet and 4 inches, was deemed too large by some. They said he would never make it in the world of basketball. But Charles, with his indomitable spirit, refused to let their words define him. After high school, Barkley found himself at Auburn University, where his talent began to shine like a beacon in the night. His towering presence and unparalleled athleticism set him apart from his peers. But it was his heart, a burning ember that never dimmed, that truly illuminated his path. He worked tirelessly, honing his skills and perfecting his game. As college came to an end, the NBA draft loomed on the horizon. The doubters resurfaced, their whispers filling Barkley's ears like a cacophony of fear. But one man stood tall amidst the chaos, Dick Vitale, a legendary basketball coach who saw something special in Charles. He believed in him when no one else did, offering him a lifeline to the professional world. With each passing day, Barkley's name climbed higher and higher on draft boards. The moment of truth arrived, and the Philadelphia 76ers selected him 5th overall. It was a bittersweet victory, for he knew that the real battle had only just begun. In the crucible of the NBA, Barkley was tested like never before. He faced off against giants, both figurative and literal. The weight of expectations bore down on him, threatening to crush his dreams beneath its heavy burden. But Charles, undeterred, clawed his way forward with every ounce of determination he possessed. He battled injury, criticism, and his own insecurities. Yet, each setback only fueled his fire. With every silent hour of training, every underdog moment, he rose higher and higher above the fray. The breaks came slowly, painfully, but they were worth the wait. As Charles Barkley's name echoed through arenas, as his highlight reels dazzled millions, he became more than just a basketball player. He was an icon, a symbol of perseverance and resilience. And though he would never win that elusive championship ring, he had already claimed something far more precious, the love and admiration of millions who saw themselves in him, the underdogs, the dreamers, the fearless few who dared to defy the odds. In the crucible of competition, a titan forged Charles Barkley, a colossus among men, a giant who dared to soar where angels feared to tread. His towering stature and boundless talent had cast a long shadow over the basketball court, yet it was not just his prodigious abilities that made him a legend, but the indomitable spirit that burned within him. The years rolled by, and Charles found himself standing atop the world. He was the reigning king of the hardwood, his every move watched with bated breath by millions. The roar of the crowd echoed in his ears as he dribbled, shot, and soared through the air, an unstoppable force tearing through the defense like a hurricane across the ocean. This was his realm, this was his throne, and all who challenged him knew they would be vanquished by his might. Yet even in the midst of glory, there lay hidden seeds of despair. For every triumph, There were moments of crushing defeat that threatened to shatter the very foundations upon which his empire had been built. One fateful night, as he hobbled from the court, a searing pain erupted within him, an injury so devastating it seemed to extinguish the fire that burned in his heart. He was cast down from his throne, left to wonder if he would ever regain his place among the gods. Months turned to years as Charles labored to heal and reclaim his lost prowess. Each day, he struggled against the torrent of self-doubt that threatened to overwhelm him, each night haunted by the specter of failure that loomed ever closer. Yet within the depths of despair, there lay a spark that refused to be snuffed out, a burning desire to rise once more and claim his birthright. At last, the moment came when Charles stepped back onto the court. He was no longer the invincible juggernaut he had once been, but rather a battle-scarred warrior who had weathered the storm and emerged stronger for it. The crowd roared as he took his place, their collective heartbeat drumming in time with his own as he prepared to face his foes. With each passing moment, the years seemed to melt away, and Charles found himself back in that familiar crucible of competition. He leapt, soared, and fought, every fiber of his being straining towards victory. The world watched, breathless with anticipation, as he defied gravity once more and claimed his place among the gods. Yet even as he stood victorious, a shadow fell across him, a reminder that glory was fleeting and defeat lay just beyond the horizon. For this titan of the hardwood, there would be no ending to the struggle, no final victory to crown his efforts. Instead, there would only ever be the fight, the eternal battle between man and himself, between hope and despair. And so Charles Barkley continues his journey, a towering testament to resilience, perseverance, and raw ambition. He stands as a beacon of hope for all who dare to dream, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there lies within each of us the power to rise once more and claim our destiny. In the sweltering heat of the Arizona summer, beneath the towering palms and blazing sun that seemed to burn with an intensity only matched by Charles Barkley's fierce determination, the stage was set. The Orlando Magic, a formidable team boasting the likes of Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway, stood between him and the ultimate prize he had yearned for his entire career, an NBA championship. The tension in the air was palpable, as thick as the humidity that clung to their sweat-soaked uniforms. The arena buzzed with anticipation, the roar of the crowd like a storm brewing on the horizon. Each heartbeat echoed in Charles' chest, a drum roll counting down the moments until the tip-off. He stood at the free-throw line, the ball grasped tightly in his massive hands. The weight of expectation hung heavy upon him, the expectations of his teammates, his city, and the countless fans who had rallied behind him. His lips curled into a grimace, and he let out a deep, shuddering breath. He had been here before, teetering on the precipice of greatness, only to fall short. But tonight would be different. The referee's whistle pierced through the din, signaling the start of the game. Charles surged forward, his powerful legs propelling him down the court like a freight train barreling toward its destination. Each stride was filled with purpose, each shot a bullet fired in pursuit of his dream. The clock ticked away, each second a battle against time and fate. He scored, he rebounded, he defended, each play a testament to the indomitable spirit that had driven him for so long. And then, in a blink of an eye, it was over. The final buzzer sounded, and the Orlando Magic were defeated. Charles sank to his knees on the court, tears streaming down his face. He had done it. Against all odds, he had finally won the championship that had eluded him for so long. It was a moment of triumph, of redemption, of everything he had ever fought for wrapped into one unforgettable day. The crowd erupted in a frenzy, their cheers and chants a symphony that reverberated through the arena and echoed in his heart. Charles Barkley the man who had faced countless criticisms, ridicule, and disappointments, was now a champion. He had triumphed not just on the court, but over the demons that had haunted him for years. He had proven to the world that he was more than his outspokenness, more than his weight struggles, more than the round mound of Rebound. He was a champion, and that victory would forever be etched in the annals of basketball history. And as the confetti rained down around him, Charles Barkley smiled, a genuine, heartfelt smile that spoke volumes about the indomitable spirit that had carried him through his journey. For this was not just a win, it was everything he had ever fought for, wrapped into one unforgettable day. In the twilight of his storied career, Charles Barkley found himself at a crossroads, the relentless march of time eroding the once unstoppable force he had been on the hardwood. The years had not been kind to him physically, and as the numbers dwindled, so too did the accolades and adulation that had once come in torrents. Yet Barkley, ever the maverick, refused to be defined by the decline of his athletic prowess. Instead, he redefined himself, channeling the ferocity that had made him a legend on the court into a new arena, television. With every witty quip and unfiltered opinion, he captured the hearts of millions, proving once more that he was more than just a basketball player. The weight struggles that had dogged him throughout his career were not left behind in the locker room. They followed him onto the set, a constant reminder of the battles fought and won. But instead of succumbing to self-pity, Barkley used his experiences as a platform for change, becoming an advocate for health and wellness. He stood tall, proudly displaying his larger frame, challenging societal norms and encouraging others to embrace their own bodies. As the years turned into decades, Barkley's legacy grew, transcending the boundaries of basketball and touching the hearts of millions. His outspokenness was celebrated, his self-awareness admired, and his ability to find humor in the most dire situations applauded. Yet, the one thing that eluded him, the one trophy he could never claim, continued to haunt him. The question that lingered in the minds of fans, a question that Barkley himself had pondered for years, was this: could Charles Barkley have won a championship? The statistics and accolades pointed towards yes, but the intangibles, the moments of heartbreak and close calls, whispered a different story. As he sat in his study, surrounded by mementos of a career filled with triumphs and tribulations, Barkley reflected on his journey. His eyes lingered on the familiar gold-rimmed trophy, its absence a constant reminder of what could have been. But instead of wallowing in regret, he chose to celebrate the man he had become, the impact he had made, and the lives he had touched along the way. In the end, Charles Barkley was not defined by his lack of a championship ring, but by his indomitable spirit, his unwavering honesty, and his ability to laugh in the face of adversity. He was more than just one of the greatest never to win a ring. He was a testament to resilience, a beacon of hope, and an enduring icon whose legacy would live on for generations to come. In the twilight of our shared journey through the life of Charles Barkley, I find myself reflecting on the raw, unbridled spirit that has captivated us all. From his roaring defiance to his undying resilience, we've walked hand in hand with a titan who dared to challenge convention and forge his own path. In the face of adversity, Charles Barkley stood tall. He bared the weight of a nation's expectations on broad shoulders that bore the brunt of countless insults and accolades alike. With each stride, he pushed forward unapologetically himself, a beacon of truth in a world too often shrouded by deception. His laughter echoed in our hearts as much as his tears did, reminding us that beneath the bravado, there lay a man grappling with the same human struggles we all face. His story is not just one of triumph and sacrifice, but of personal redemption, of finding solace in one's own skin and embracing the power that comes from self-acceptance. As we bid farewell to this towering figure, I implore you, dear listener, to remember Charles Barkley not only for his colossal achievements on the basketball court, but for the indelible mark he left on our souls. If you find yourself yearning for more tales of resilience and inspiration, do not hesitate to subscribe or return for another journey into the lives of those who dare to dream bigger than life itself. In closing, I leave you with these parting words. Here's to you, Charles Barkley / up 2014, a man whose spirit will continue to soar long after the final buzzer sounds, lighting our way as we strive to find our own unique paths in this vast cosmos of life. Until our stories cross again, keep reaching for the stars and never forget the power within you to inspire change and defy expectation. Elizabeth.